Okay, folks, here we go with the introduction lecture to Black Life in Early North America. So we start off with Black life in the early American colonies is directly connected to the larger European colonial project. As with land, labor was an intricate factor in colonial designs on the Americas. While many Africans arrived as freemen or indentured servants, eventually the majority came as slaves. The transatlantic slave trade lasted some 4 centuries since Columbus landed in the Americas. As the largest forced migration in history, European and Euro-American slave traders stole and transported millions of Africans from their homelands and used their labor to produce wealth. As discussed in previous units, European colonizers in the Americas experimented with various forms of labor. Europeans attempted the most obvious, harnessing an indigenous labor force. This worked in densely populated areas where indigenous populations already based in a tribute-oriented social hierarchy, such as Central Mexico and South America under Spanish colonial rule. British colonists in North America, however, found it more difficult to subjugate North American Indians around the eastern seaboard, as they were not as densely populated. North American Indians were tough, resilient, and at home in their own environment, many with large, effective militaries making bondage more of a challenge. In more vulnerable areas, colonists did practice widespread enslavement of American Indians, shipping many of them to Caribbean colonies. But continuous war and the rapid spread of European diseases continued to ravage American Indians, decreasing their population and making them an unreliable labor pool. British colonists met most of their labor demands during the 1600s with white indentured servitude, but this also presented various challenges. News of brutal working conditions filtered back to Europe, causing hesitancy amongst the lower classes, even for the most poor and destitute. In addition, indentured servitude required a time limit on contracts, and once freed, white indentures demanded land and other socio-economic and political rights from the upper classes. Further, in 1493, uncovering the New World Columbus created, Charles Mann also argued that widespread malaria also posed a lingering problem, killing 1 out of every 4 to 1 out of every 7 Europeans arriving in the Americas. Along with free laborers and indentured servants, European colonists introduced slavery, eventually settling on African slavery as the ideal form of labor. Unlike American Indians, African slaves were not at home in their own environment and did not have large, well-equipped armies for protection. They often arrived to the American colonies deranged and on the brink of dying from weeks of physical and psychological torture, and surrounded and controlled by the foreign language and culture of their captors. Slave traders intentionally filled their ships with slaves originating from different parts of Africa and from different cultural groupings, increasing disorientation and to keep them divided and conquered. Unlike European laborers that had high death rates due to malaria, new DNA studies argued that Africans contain a gene immunity to a particular strain of malaria prevalent in the Americas, further increasing their reliability as an ideal labor source. Through the mid to late 1600s, Great Britain's growing naval power resulted in several victories over its European competitors in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Military and commercial power increased trade, which paralleled the displacing of indigenous peoples from their lands and enslavement for more and more Africans. The clearing of land and securing of slave labor further fueled Great Britain's military and economic power. This cyclical relationship spiraled into the 1700s, amassing fortunes for a select few, but caused immense suffering and horrors for the majority involved. Creole life in early America. Black life in early America should not be limited only to slavery. The popular image of blacks, in this case African and African Americans, as deaf, dumb, and ignorant slaves, leaves us with an incomplete understanding of the early Black experience in North America. Many came as freemen, while others as indentured servants that gained their freedom. Understanding the varied Black experience in North America provides an insight on the institutionalization of race and slavery. In Many Thousands Gone, Ira Berlin argues that analyzing race and slavery requires an understanding of the historical transition from a society with slaves to a slave society.